This is Oaxaca, a city in southern Mexico that is facing a battle many tourists do not see. Housing prices have skyrocketed, water is becoming scarce, and cultural traditions are becoming commercialized. The Spanish conquistadors forced indigenous people out of their homes in the 1600s, and a new version of this is happening today. It's called gentrification. Oaxaca is one of Mexico's most diverse states, with more than 16 indigenous groups. It's known for its incredible beauty, art, and gastronomy, which are all fueled by the indigenous culture there.
Afortunadamente es un estado que prácticamente tiene todo. Tenemos costas, tenemos sierras, tenemos unos ecosistemas increíbles, tenemos pueblos mágicos, tenemos ciudades que pues, prácticamente lo tienen todo en un tema gastronómico, artesanal, artistas plásticos, tenemos colores, tenemos fiesta, tenemos tradiciones. Podríamos ser un país.
In recent years, Oaxaca began to see some 6 million visitors per year. This has been beneficial for the state. The influx of tourism has built up the economy greatly compared to 20 years ago, but there are downsides to this too.
La vida en Oaxaca en general se ha ido encareciendo. Esto se debe a que precisamente por esa afluencia de turismo, mucha gente sube el costo de los alimentos, de los textiles.
Much of this insufficiency can be traced back to a dynamic seen across the world, gentrification. Now, what exactly is it? Well, gentrification occurs when wealthy, oftentimes white people move into communities that are historically minority and or poor neighborhoods, inflating the cost of basic real estate, utilities, and food. This happened right in our backyard in the Rhino neighborhood of Denver, and now it's happening in Oaxaca. So, what caused gentrification to get this bad in Oaxaca? Well, I went to Oaxaca to see this for myself in March of 2025, and there was a few stories that came up over and over. One of the big ones was the commercialization of Oaxacan culture. Like, let's look at this hugely important festival in Oaxaca. It's called the Guelaguetza, and it stems from the pre-Hispanic era of the native Zapotec people. Translated literally, it means mutual cooperation, but it is often interpreted as bringing people together out of reciprocity. In the post-colonial era, it was created as an official festival hosted every summer, in which Oaxaca's more than 16 indigenous groups come together to share and perform dances from their cultures. But here's what the locals said.
In specific, the Guelaguetza festival, it used to be for the local peoples, for Oaxaqueños. Now it's for tourists. Now it's gentrified.
The festival is now too expensive for them to attend. It's filled with foreigners. We can see this literally if we look at the seating arrangements of the auditorium. The primary sections A and B are often too expensive for locals to afford, meaning it's usually left to tourists. The back sections, C and D, which are dedicated to Oaxacans, do not actually have enough seats for every citizen to participate, meaning tourists are displacing locals from their own cultural event. And this is only one example of tourists being prioritized over locals when it comes to important cultural events. The journalist I met with, Cruz, mentioned food as well.
Que la comida tradicional se ha puesto de moda también y por supuesto que eso ha elevado los insumos de esta comida que ha sostenido el pueblo de Oaxaca, las clases bajas o la gente de las poblaciones, y que hoy se les arrebata precisamente porque está de moda esta comida. Patrimonios intangibles que pertenecieron al pueblo de Oaxaca empiezan a alejarse del pueblo de Oaxaca para estar al servicio del turismo que viene a Oaxaca.
Food prices are going up, and mostly to cater to tourists. Now, there's something else that I heard while I was in Oaxaca. We know it well, and it's happening down there too. It's called a housing crisis. I'm sure you've heard about the housing crisis in Denver, which to a certain extent is one of the worst in the country. But let's take a second to compare to Oaxaca. Take a look at this chart. So this is the median housing price in Denver in 2018, compared with the median housing price in 2024. Well, let's look at the median house price in Oaxaca in 2018. Don't worry about currency conversions here. Let's just look at this percentage. In Denver, the median house price increased 37% over 6 years. It's a big increase for sure. But in Oaxaca, the house price increased 83% over 6 years, more than double the increase in Denver. Now, one of the main players of this increase in cost of housing is something we know very well here in the States. It's Airbnb. As tourist demand has increased over the years, prices have also increased, and converting houses into Airbnbs has become a more viable option for many locals.
¿Qué hace la gente que tiene casas en el centro? Las tiene que vender porque no pueden vivir en una casa cuyo costo del predial, del pago anual que se hace es muy costoso. O la vendes, o la alquilas, o la vuelves hotel, o la vuelves Airbnb.
This, in turn, has created a dynamic where there is now less housing for those who want to stay in the city center. Airbnb reported there was 4,800 listings in the city in 2023. That's 4,800 houses that could be lived in by locals.
Amiga que me decía que quería vivir por aquí, buscó un departamento, le rentaban un departamento con un solo cuarto, todo junto, sala, comedor, cocina, todo junto, y le pedían 5,000 pesos de renta.
Which may be reasonable for an average American, but for a Oaxacan making the average monthly salary of 4,200 pesos, or about $226, it is completely unsustainable. There's one more thing I heard from people on the ground about the issue of gentrification, and it's essentially this: the displacement of resources. What exactly does this mean? Well, let's look at an example: water. This Puerto Rican journalist, Bianca Gorlau, was doing an investigation of the tourism industry in Oaxaca, and what she found is that hotel chains in Oaxaca had been receiving multiple trucks of water every day, also known as pipas, to keep up with water demands by tourists. Meanwhile, Oaxaca has been going through one of the worst droughts in history. In fact, the family that I stayed with said that they are only receiving water every 3 weeks, and if they want to get it delivered, it is incredibly expensive. Gorlau also uncovered that these hotel chains were not compensating their employees fairly. They were hoarding their newfound wealth.
También hay una parte que no es equitativa entre la ganancia que pueda tener un empresario hotelero o restaurantero de gran magnitud, porque los sueldos que se les paga a meseros, a recamareras, a cocineros, no es equiparable con las ganancias que ellos obtienen.
Money that tourists are bringing to Oaxaca is not going to the people making the money. It's going to the wealthiest bunch in the city, or sometimes leaving the state altogether. Okay, none of this sounds good. It sounds like tourists are causing a racket in Oaxaca, so maybe they should just leave forever and never come back. Well, that's not exactly the case. Tourism generated over 170,000 jobs for Oaxaca, and it brought in $1.2 billion in revenue for the city in 2024 alone. Much of the economy hinges on tourism, and realistically, there needs to be a way to continue it while bolstering the economic needs of the people. The reason gentrification has gotten so bad in this city is not because of tourists, it's because of underlying systems that work to create profit off of those tourists. The desire to continue generating more and more revenue without pausing to consider the needs of communities, families, or individuals. We saw European colonizers extract endless wealth from their colonies in the form of gold, crops, and labor. Now we're seeing a new version of this in Oaxaca. Wealthy people and corporations are extracting money and labor from the people of Oaxaca without reinvesting into the community. And to be fair, when the system is unregulated, meaning uncontrolled, it's only reasonable that people, business owners, big corporations would want to make as much money as possible because it's allowed. So in order to address the issue of gentrification, there needs to be regulation. The system needs to change to disincentivize these corporations from generating endless profit and transition into working for the good of local people and communities.
Porque el municipio podría también poner sus candados o poner unas leyes específicas para esta gente que nos visita y bueno, y poder convivir todos en conjunto o en armonía.
A good example of this is the Guelaguetza tickets. Sections of the auditorium were regulated by the government to require dedicated areas for locals, as well as decreased ticket prices, even free admissions for Oaxacan residents and indigenous people. It would greatly decrease the inaccessibility that this event is having because of tourists. Oaxaca could also draw inspiration from other cities as well. In Barcelona, Spain, they've also faced gentrification recently. So what did they do? They implemented rent freezes. This meant tenants could not raise prices, which was forcing locals to move out and landlords to turn apartments into Airbnbs for tourists. It actually worked. There's been nearly a 10% decrease in rent prices since this new rule went in. The same story is playing out in Oaxaca, and if the government implemented a rent freeze, it could greatly decrease the housing crisis and help local residents move back into the city center that they are being forced out of. The government should also increase wages for everyone, but also hospitality workers. They could even go as far as to requiring owners and corporations pay a section of profits to their workers. Tourists have been generating so much money for Oaxaca, which is amazing, but this money needs to go to the working people, not just the wealthiest in the city. There's also a tourist element. We as tourists have a role to play in stopping gentrification. It's far too common for Americans to walk into other cultures and places as if it's their own house. It's not.
Eso es un intercambio porque Oaxaca precisamente tiene un sistema de colaboración y que yo creo que ha permitido que podamos vivir y conservar nuestras costumbres, que es a través de lo que sí realmente es la Guelaguetza, porque la Guelaguetza no es un conjunto de bailes. La Guelaguetza es un sistema de ayuda mutua que permite solventar cualquier compromiso social.
It's not ours to change or take, but it's ours to ask questions and learn from. There's another layer to our impact as tourists, which is intention. Intention with where our money goes is one of the most important things we can do as individuals within a capitalist system to reinvest into communities. Try finding hotels or businesses that are actually reinvesting into the community. There's this one, Hotel Con Corazon, which has a few locations across Latin America, but they're committed to reinvesting into Oaxaca. They invest into education and environmental sustainability in the area. They're not just extracting profit from the community and leaving with it. It's in tourists' hands to choose where our money goes, and avoiding corporations like Airbnb is a valuable first step. Also, just go out of your way to support local restaurants, artisans, and community centers. You might even consider volunteering on your trip. Reinvesting your own time into the community where you are is one of the most important things we can do to break down this barrier that has perpetuated gentrification in travel industries. Now, let's be extra super clear about something. While all of these things will reduce the impact of gentrification, there are so many more factors that I did not cover, and there's probably even more that I do not know about. And the reality is the most important thing that we can do is listen to the Oaxacan people. The reason gentrification has gotten so bad in this city is because these corporations and wealthy landlords and business owners are not listening to the people. They're not reinvesting into the community. This isn't necessarily our fight as tourists to lead. We can participate in the solution, but ultimately it is the Oaxacan people's place to tell us what to do. See, the best part about all of this is that it applies to all forms of travel, not just Oaxaca. This mindset of researching and understanding how you can benefit the community in which you are going should be carried with you everywhere, and it could help break down gentrification globally. So the next time you and your family go to Mexico, Italy, or even just to downtown Denver, think about how you can reinvest into the community. Avoid mega corporations, find local businesses or those that are reinvesting into the community, and support local artisans. When we as Westerners stop treating places as a commodity, we can preserve the beauty and tradition of places like Oaxaca.